Pokémon Sun and Moon have been officially revealed for the first time. We've got a new trailer revealing the region, the starters, and the legendaries. Obviously, the best way to get a look at everything is to watch the two trailers, which you can check out at Gamnesia. You can also check out the game's official website, which is now live, and an awesome analysis video by GameXplain. But for starters, we've got a water-type seal named Poplio, a fire-type kitty named Litten, and a grass-flying owl named Rowlet. The legendaries are a huge white sun lion and a big moon bat. The region called Alola is very clearly inspired by Hawaii. It's a very tropical region. So these games launch in North America and Japan on November 18th and Europe on November 23rd. What did you guys think of all this?
So I was kind of excited anyway, just because, you know, it's a new Pokemon game, obviously. I mean,
yeah,
super pumped, even if that's you know, maybe I'm just looking at it through nostalgia glasses and I shouldn't be as pumped. But having seen this new trailer and the follow-up analysis by GameXplain, which was excellent, by the way,
absolutely.
I'm just way more pumped now. I mean, they pointed all kinds of little details that I didn't notice, but I'm really excited about what looks like a more sort of realistic world to explore. There's
absolutely
terrain and things like that, and just the way the map was shown, it looks like there's going to be a lot of different areas to explore. And just the way the map looks is completely different than in previous games too. It's like more topographical, and I've been wanting Pokemon for a long time now to really just sort of pick up more action-adventure elements and feel more like a game, you know, than specifically a Pokemon game. And I'm sure it's going to still feel very, very familiar, but it's nice to just see this world that looks sort of more fleshed out and more open and interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so there with you. Something that you said that really resonated with me is that it looks more like a real world, and I noticed in particular, I think it feels so much more original this time around because they actually are breaking conventions of Pokemon's like setting structure, not the story structure or even the gameplay structure, but some elements of the setting that have been consistent for so long and just been taken for granted by Game Freak. Like for example, 6 regions, and every single one of them you walk to the professor's lab to be shown 3 Pokeballs on a table. I mean, I guess they didn't do that in Ruby and Sapphire, but then they just ran straight back to that idea. Anyway, just using the world in this way and using the unique characteristics of the region and the local setting to make the actual experience of seeing the Pokemon battle or seeing the Pokemon in the overworld, or even the way that the character interacts with the world is so much more unique. I was noticing these routes where there are these like totem poles sort of strewn along the path, and it looked like the road actually was winding rather than Pokemon, you know, goes straight to the right for a little while and then will maybe jig-jag up, you know,
the world isn't all like a big grid anymore. Yeah.
It looks like the grid is still there for walking, but at least graphically it looks like it's not present. Yeah, and that was really, really satisfying for me.
So, for my part, I mean, you guys have heard me talk before about my sort of deep, dark disappointment with the X and Y. And I was kind of hoping that this game would give me a lot more hope when I first saw it than it actually wound up giving me from this trailer. I've obviously did notice a lot of the things you guys noticed, like the settings seem more dynamic. The choice of setting itself is actually really cool, and I really like it.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm still going to be kind of cautiously skeptical and wait and see what the actual world content is going to be like, what the map layouts are going to be like, whether there's going to be some, like, innate challenge or to exploration, whether there's, you know, well-designed dungeons and caves to explore, things like that, things that I've been missing from the game.
Sure.
But, you know, that said, I really like the Hawaii setting. I pointed this out on Twitter, but I really like that the professor is a professor of color. Really great to see. Especially since that's not really something that we've had a lot of in Pokemon up to this point.
Yeah.
I know, I was a little not too happy with the starters, but then I saw the Rowlet memes, and I am now a Rowlet believer.
Yeah, I liked Rowlet to start out with, and I saw, you know, there's lots of pictures of all of them going around the internet, and Rowlet definitely has won me over.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So.
Rowlet's actually my least favorite. And
really?
It's not because I don't think it's a bad design or anything. It's like I think it's actually really cute. it just, for some reason, it doesn't really strike me as a starter Pokemon.
Yeah, I definitely feel that.
We'll have to see how it evolves and everything.
I kind of have that same feeling from the whole lineup where it's like...
Yeah, me too.
These don't really feel like the first Pokemon, like, say, if I'm a new player, that these would be my first Pokemon that I'd be introduced to.
I was gonna say Litten gave me that same feeling.
And I was really underwhelmed with them in general. And like, not that any of them are bad, but just like I was expecting to be really blown away, and I wasn't.
Yeah, I think they're all sort of just okay, but
Yeah.
I like Litten the best, and I generally tend to lean towards the fire starter, and then water is usually my second choice. But Litten is definitely my favorite thus far.
I usually tend to lean towards the water Pokemon, but I'm not a big fan of Poplio.
Apparently no one is. Like, I don't think it's that bad, but it's like being trashed all over the internet. There's all kinds of memes.
I don't know.
Stuff.
It's definitely on the lower end of the starter tier list. But Litten was interesting because I just usually tend to love cat Pokemon, and Litten, I'm not really that interested in Litten by its design, but just because it's a cat, I am inclined to want to get it. But I think all in all, I'm going to see how the evolutions look before I decide on a starter, because I love Rowlet. I could see myself liking Litten or not. Like I think the evolutions will make or break that. And same could be true for Rowlet. I'm cautious because I worry that when it evolves into like its third stage, it's going to look just crazy and not appealing anymore. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's a worry for me too with the recent starters, is I always worry that I'll like the starting evolution much more than I'll like the final form. And that's not a good feeling for the starter Pokemon.
Right. That's, I think, one of the things that they did really well in the older generations that are not as great now, is that I feel like there are a lot more starter Pokemon who get attention given disproportionately to the original form than the final form. And obviously the final form is the original form is what you want to bond with at the outset, but you want to have a final form that you really, really like too. You can't give substandard.
It's going to be with you for more hours than the initial form is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't give the starters substandard final evolutions.
Yeah.
Hello everybody, thank you for listening to this Nintendo Week clip, NWC. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to us here on YouTube for more highlights and discussion videos from Nintendo Week podcast, or subscribe to us on iTunes for weekly breakdowns of all your Nintendo news, discussion segments on subjects, games, and more, and tons of other features. Thanks for listening, and we will see you tomorrow with another NWC.